up, you guys? Welcome back to another one. If you are new to the channel, I am Gold Pony. I do new car, truck, SUV reviews on YouTube, and today we're in the brand new 2025 Volkswagen Atlas, courtesy of Hanover Volkswagen in Hanover, PA. For more information on their inventory, please feel free to check out the link in the description box below. So I'm in this one today because this thing has got a super spacious interior, more space than the Honda Pilot, the Toyota Highlander, Kia Telluride, Hyundai Palisade, just to name a few there. And honestly, this one competes directly with the Toyota Grand Highlander and the Chevy Traverse. They're all around the same cubic feet of cargo space, essentially, same size, more or less. So keep that in mind. And the difference, though, is I think, in my opinion, this is probably the best looking of those larger three-row SUVs, in my personal opinion. So wonderful styling here, and you got some new colors for 2025 as well. So ultimately, in this video, we will be testing out and going over everything about this one, from acceleration to braking, steering feel, ride quality, sound system, exhaust clip, all that fun stuff. So having said all of that, what do you guys say? Let's just go ahead and jump right into it. And as always, let's start with pricing. And so as you can imagine, there are several different trim levels for the 2025 Atlas. You got the SE starting at $38,200, which is a modest $475 price bump from the 2024 model year. SE with technology, that one goes for $42,305. Peak Edition going for $46,655. SEL, that one starts at $48,200, and the SEL Premium R line for $53,205. And so for those last three trim levels, all-wheel drive comes standard. For the first two, front-wheel drive comes standard. However, you can add all-wheel drive. If you wanted to do that, simply add $1,900 to either of those prices. But regardless of the trim level that you go with, the power plant on the Atlas is going to be the same. Powering the beast is a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder, putting out 269 horsepower at 5,500 RPM, 273 pound-feet of torque, coming in at 1,600 RPM. That power being sent to the front wheels or all wheels through an 8-speed automatic with paddle shifters, which of course you guys know we will be testing out here in a little bit. As far as the 0 to 60 time goes, it comes in at approximately 7 seconds flat. Top speed, if you're interested, 120 miles per hour, with MPG numbers coming in at 20 in the city, 27 on the highway for the front-wheel drive, 19 city, 25 then on the highway for the all-wheel drive, but taking regular unleaded fuel. But so that before we do any kind of fun acceleration or paddle shifter test here in the Atlas, I did want to mention to you guys the drive modes. And so there's a mode button located just underneath of the infotainment screen. When you press that, you have Eco, Comfort, Sport, Custom, Off-Road, and Snow, adjusting things like the shift points, the throttle response, and the steering sensitivity. So now having got all of that out of the way, what do you guys say? Let's go ahead and find a straightaway. Let's put the paddle shifters here to the test first, and let's see how quickly these paddle shifters are going to react for us here. All right, let's see if it holds the gear. Oh wow, it's holding. Well done, Volkswagen. Let's go. Wow. I'm not sure why Volkswagen put paddle shifters on a three-row SUV, honestly, but they did it right. Even if they did it right, which I love. So that's crazy. You never see that, especially on the vehicle the size of this too, with all the space this thing has. Not only did they give you a full manual shift mode where the car doesn't actually shift for you, if you hold it in the upper RPMs, watch, it's not shifting. I'm gonna do it. But yeah, that's incredible, because usually the car is like, oh, you're going too high up in the RPMs, we gotta shift for you, and it does it, but that's so cool. Anyways, paddle shifters were fine. Not the very quickest reacting paddle shifters, but they didn't do bad either. They're actually decent. So anyways, let me give back full control to the car here. I'm just going to tap the shifter back one more time, and that gives back full control. Let's find one more straightaway, and let's see how quickly we can get this one here up to speed. All right, acceleration test with the car having full control in sport driving mode in 3, 2, 1, go. Delay. There it is. Okay, this thing's pretty darn quick once it gets higher up in the RPM range, but having said that, it is a turbocharged 4-cylinder, so you do get a little bit of that turbo lag at the very beginning or initial delay. But other than that, like I said, once you get higher up in the RPMs, this thing goes really, really well. So absolutely no issues with the turbocharged 4-cylinder getting up to speed. This is plenty to merge you onto any highway here in the US. So well done, Volkswagen, for that. I liked that. But anyways, to go along with that acceleration, as always, braking is equally important. And so up front, you will find 13.2-inch ventilated front discs. In the back, 12.2-inch solid rear discs. As far as braking feel goes, it's actually good. It's not bad. It's not a super firm braking feel, but it's not a soft braking feel either. And why does this engine sound so good? Why? I'm just loving this sound. Like, I feel like I'm driving a race car just because of that sound. Like, what's going on here, Volkswagen? This isn't a Golf R. This thing sounds really, really good. Like, listen. What's going on here? Anyways, I feel like braking feel didn't used to be this good, like a super soft braking feel back in the day when the Atlases first came out, but this one's actually not bad. Like, it feels like it should. I'll just put it that way. But anyways, then touching on suspension and handling. Up front, you're gonna get an independent strut type front suspension. In the back, independent multi-link rear suspension. As far as ride quality goes, in my short little test drive here today, it's been 100% perfectly fine, and I really didn't expect anything other than that. Typically with these larger SUVs, they do ride pretty darn good, even in sport driving mode that I got it in right now. Let me go ahead and just put it back in comfort just for giggles. And yeah, plenty of ride quality in this thing. Absolutely no issues there. As far as steering feel goes, now it is on the looser side of things. That's to be expected really in any 3-row SUV, minus Mazda maybe, but yeah, there's that, but it's nothing that I didn't expect. So I didn't expect it to be a super heavy steering feel, but it is what it is. Now, as far as cabin noise goes, maybe I'm going a little bit crazy here, but I feel like that engine noise was a little more pronounced in that sport driving mode. Maybe that is a thing. Maybe I didn't do my research completely, but I feel like it's a lot quieter in that comfort driving mode, and it was a lot louder in that sport driving mode. Like, it's definitely a difference there. So maybe that's one of the adjustments that the drive modes makes, and if you don't like that engine noise all the time, maybe don't put it in sport driving mode. But other than that, it's a pretty serene cabin. Like, I'm not getting a whole lot of exterior wind noise or road noise whatsoever coming into the cabin, so absolutely crushing it so far. Then taking a look at rear visibility, I can see 100% perfectly fine out the back. One of the things that I like is that third row right there. I actually have up, but the headrests kind of dip down into the seats. So when the third row is not in use, you can push those down, and visibility is 100% on point, even though I have the third row up right now, because you can push the headrest down. So I absolutely love that. The other thing is all trim levels of the Atlas are going to get rain sensing windshield wipers. So I haven't touched my windshield wipers this entire drive so far, and it has been raining, and it's been doing a wonderful job, like it just did there, turning on the windshield wipers whenever it feels like it needs to be, you know, cleaned up or whatever. So yeah, 100% on point there. I love rain sensing windshield wipers. It's super convenient. And the other thing is, with the SEL trim levels, touching on forward visibility a little bit, I have a head-up display I'm looking at right now. It is super bright without my polarized sunglasses up, and I can see great. Like, that's really nice. It's super bright. I can see my speed limit, and then there's safety features there to the left, so I'm a big fan of that as well. But that pretty much rounds out the performance segment of this review, you guys. Let's now go find a cool spot next to a cornfield, and let's take a look at the exterior of our brand new 2025 Volkswagen Atlas. All right, so here she is, you guys, the new 2025 Volkswagen Atlas in the rain. Gotta love it. Yeah, I'm getting rained on right now, but as always, let's go ahead and start with where this one is made. Taking a look at the VIN, first character is the number 1, indicating that the new Atlas is built and assembled here in the US, so that's pretty cool. But wanted to mention, there's a couple new colors for 2025. You have Mountain Lake Blue, Avocado Green, and Pure Gray, in case you wanted the latest and greatest color options. But starting up front, since we're here, LED headlights with LED daytime running lights. You get the automatic feature. You also get automatic high beams if you go with one of the SEL trim levels. That's how that works. But you get an integrated light bar with the SEL with technology and up. You also get the illuminated Volkswagen logo. Let me get up a little bit closer to show that to you guys. But that's with the SE with technology trim level and up. Yet again, that looks dang good. I love that. Peak Edition and the R-Line trims have a unique front bumper. I wanted to mention that as well. And then you get an adaptive front lighting system, believe it or not, with every single trim level across the board. I love that. So what that is when you're going around a bend at night, those headlights are going to swivel based on the direction of your steering angle, better help illuminating what is around that bend. So you're less likely to hit a deer or a possum or a raccoon or a squirrel or whatever the case. You get my point. That's a pretty cool safety feature right there. But that pretty much rounds out the front end, and I love that R in the upper portion of that front grille as well. I don't want to forget to overlook that, but pretty much rounds out the front end. Let's now go ahead and swing around to the side. All right, so now since we are around to the side of this one, roof rails do come standard on every single trim level across the board. Get rear privacy glass coming standard as well. body colored power adjustable side mirrors. Side mirrors will be heated with LED integrated turn signals then as well. Matte black side skirts do come standard. However, with the Peak Edition, you're going to get some silver accents to those side skirts. And then with the R line, you're going to get body colored side skirts like you guys are looking at right now. I think that looks amazing. You also have that R badging found on the front doors. Also looks equally nice as well, but pretty nice side profile. But now let's go ahead and swing around to the back. All right, so now since we are around to the back of this one, all the way to the top, gloss black shark fin antenna. Just below that, rear spoiler with an integrated brake light. You got the rear window wiper back there as well. LED taillights do come standard for all trim levels across the board, and you got that little light bar kind of connecting the two taillights as well. But check this out. I'm gonna get up a little closer yet again. An illuminated Volkswagen logo, kind of highlighted with that red taillight color. So that's pretty cool as well. You got the Atlas lettering spelled out horizontally. There is some trim level badging found on the rear lift gate there as well. Guys might notice we do have a tow hook down there to the bottom. As far as towing capacity goes, that comes in at 5,000 pounds, in case you were curious about that. And then dual exhaust outlets, however, they are tucked away underneath. I wish Volkswagen would have incorporated them into the rear bumper. They kind of made it look like they were with the chrome surrounds down there, but that's not actually where the exhaust comes out. They are tucked away, but nonetheless, I do believe you guys know what we have to do next here. As always, here is that exhaust clip. All right, so now since we are around to the back of the Atlas, when it comes to opening that rear lift gate, it is a hands-free power lift gate for the SE with technology trim level and up. There is a button on the key fob. Of course, there's a rubberized button on the lift gate itself, and there's a button on the driver's side door then as well. But once opened up, cargo capacity comes in at 20.6 cubic feet behind that third row. Of course, the third row does fold down. That's going to bump that up to 55.5 cubic feet. Then with all rows folded, 96.6 cubic feet. So it's essentially the same number as the Chevy Traverse and the Toyota Grand Highlander. And it's more than everything else like the Telluride, the Palisade, and the Pilot, and the Highlander, and all that stuff. So quite a bit of space back there. Of course, you got the 60-40 split. There's a 12-volt power outlet. You do get LED cargo lighting back there, which you don't always find, so I like that. You got a grocery bag hook, and it's a massive grocery bag hook. And then when you lift up underneath of that cargo floor, you will find some in-floor storage as well. There's some chrome-plated tie-down anchors as well. But then making our way up to the third row legroom, that is going to come in at 33.7 inches. For reference, I'm an even 6 feet tall. This is how much space I had in the third row there. Of course, you have rear ventilation for those third row passengers. It's kind of found on the sides back there. Got cup holders for them as well, and dual rear USB charging ports actually for the third row passengers. So that was pretty cool. But then making our way up to the second row legroom, that comes in at 37.6 inches. For reference, I'm an even 6 feet tall. Definitely felt like more space than that. I had plenty of space back there. Rear ventilation again, coming standard USB charging ports. You actually get a 115-volt power outlet as well. If you wanted the rear window sunshades that I'm showing you guys right here, go with the SE with technology trim level and up. That's how you're gonna get them. And then for the SEL trim levels, you're gonna get heated second row seats as well, which is pretty stinking cool. And of course, you got the bench seating set up back there. So overall, this is gonna be seating for 7 total. But anyways, then making our way up to the front seat. Power adjustable driver's seat does come standard. Heated front seats and ventilated front seats, actually coming standard on every single trim level across the board. So you gotta love that. Leatherette seating does come standard. However, leather seats comes with the SEL trim level and up. Overall, as far as seat comfort goes, seating was 100% on point. I definitely did not have any issues with seat comfort. Super comfortable seats, actually. I was a big fan of them. But then taking a look at the steering wheel, it is tilt and telescoping. It's going to be leatherette wrapped for all trim levels but the R-Line, because the R-Line that we have today is going to give you that leather wrapped steering wheel. It's kind of got a flat bottom with the R sign at the very bottom if you go with the R-Line, of course. So love the steering wheel here. And then taking a look at this startup, let me start by showing you guys the key. It's a nice heavy duty key here. You got your Volkswagen logo on the one side. When you flip it over, lock, unlock, the button to pop the rear lift gate there, and the ×2 button, that is a remote start, which comes on the SE with technology trim levels and up. And then it is all keyless entry with the push button start though, so all I'm going to do here is simply put my foot on the brake and press that silver engine start button located just in front of the shifter there. And so once started up, what you were looking at is a very nice looking 10.3-inch digital gauge cluster, which by the way, comes standard for every single trim level across the board. And one of the reasons I love this is because, for one, there's a view button on the right-hand side of the steering wheel. And when you press that, it basically completely changes the look of the gauge cluster up there. You can choose to make it more of a traditional kind of setup. There's also the full navigation setup, which takes up the entire screen up there. It's kind of the 3D effect while you're driving. You can choose to display a digital speedometer. So there is a bunch of different options you can display up there if you wanted to. So I'm a big fan of that. Of course, it gives you all your basic information like outside temperature, time of the day, how many miles you have left until you hit empty, trip A, trip B. So it's pretty much everything you could possibly want up there. I think my favorite part about the gauges though is that everything surrounding it is surrounded in this wood trim. It just makes it feel so much more high-end. I'll get more into that at the interior quality portion of this review, which starts right now. So wireless phone charger does come standard on all trim levels across the board. Get an auto dimming rear view mirror with home light controls at the bottom portion of that rear view mirror for up to 3 different garage doors. There's a compass in the upper right hand corner there as well. Dual zone climate control coming standard for all trim levels. You get multicolor ambient lighting for the peak edition trim level and up, and I've been loving that. I think the ambient lighting looks really, really good on this thing. You get stainless steel pedals with the R line, a panoramic moonroof for the SEL trim levels. Get that nice wood trim that I was just mentioning, and the cool thing about that, it's everywhere. It's on the doors, it's just above the passenger side glove box, it's behind the infotainment screen, surrounding the gauges, so it is everywhere and it looks so high-end. I absolutely love that particularly. There is some hidden storage also underneath of the shifter here. That's something that these larger 3-row SUVs typically do, and I love that as well. Just on top of that, you have your cup holders, and everything surrounding the shifter and the cup holders is all finished in a gloss black, which I'm always a fan of. Just behind that, you got a little bit of storage, and then within the center armrest, there's a ton of space in here as expected, with a USB charging port actually in there as well. Would have been cool to kind of see a little light within here as well. A lot of SUVs will do that. Not like that's a big deal though, but overall interior quality was 100% on point. The other cool thing is to open and close the moonroof up here. You just swipe your finger back to open it and then swipe it forward to actually close it. That's something from Volvo's playbook. They've been doing that for forever, so I like that more manufacturers are starting to do that. That's a pretty easy thing to use there. But like I said, overall they did a wonderful job with the interior quality. But now let's go ahead and make our way to the infotainment screen here. What you were looking at is a 12-inch infotainment screen. You get Bluetooth and audio streaming with that, Android Auto, Apple CarPlay of course. For the SEL trim levels, you're going to get a factory navigation system up there. You can check out your ambient lighting settings up there. There's a lot of stuff you can actually play around with up here. But anyways, you could also check out your radio information. So when it comes to the sound systems, you essentially get 6 speakers for all trim levels but the R line, because the R line is going to give you a Harman Kardon sound system with aluminum speaker covers and the branding within the sound system speakers there as well. So having said that, I do believe you guys know what we have to do next here. Let's go ahead and turn on the radio. Let's see what we got playing this morning, and let's test out the clarity of this one. All right. Love that. Plenty of a sound system for the size of this vehicle. The other thing is to actually turn up and down the volume for the sound system. There's a couple ways. You can do it on the steering wheel, that's normal, but there's also this section just below the infotainment screen where you can swipe your finger to the left to turn it down or swipe your finger to the right to turn it up. And that's the quickest way to turn up and down that sound system there. I love that because it's instantaneous. If you want to turn it all the way down, you just swipe your finger to the left and it's off. So that's pretty convenient. I love that. Not many vehicles will allow you to do that. But anyways, last thing I wanted to mention to you guys on the infotainment screen at least is when you do put the Atlas in reverse, you will find a rear view camera coming standard across the board. Love the 360-degree monitor there to the left as well, giving you that bird's eye view. But that is always going to lead us into safety. And so starting with the best part, the Atlas is an IIHS top safety pick. So wonderful start right there. You get front side curtain airbags, of course. In the back, you got latch, aka lower anchors to tethers to children for the rear car seats, rear child door locks, tire pressure monitoring system, but also coming standard, adaptive cruise control, forward collision warning with autonomous emergency braking, lane change assist, rear cross traffic alert. And if you were to go with the SE with technology trim level and up, you're also going to get front and rear parking sensors, so you don't hit nothing in the garage. I love that. But overall, when it comes to my final thoughts. Wonderful amount of space, 96 total cubic feet of cargo space. That's a wonderful number if you have a larger family and you need to take this vehicle on road trips. You got a ton of space in the back for that. Also, wonderful design. In my personal opinion, I think this is probably the best looking amongst the larger 3-row SUVs, being those 3 that I keep mentioning. So I love that. I love the wood trim on the interior as well. That's something that you don't often find on the competition. Big fan of that. Love the tech. The gauges look amazing. The infotainment screen is massive. Also love that this thing is a top safety pick. That's a ton of peace of mind for me. So if I got my kids in the back, I love knowing that this thing is a top safety pick for my IHS. So my ultimate question for you guys, and put this in the comment section below because I really want to know what you guys would pick. Do you get the new Atlas? Do you get the Grand Highlander? Or do you get the Chevy Traverse? Let me know in the comments which one you particularly would pick. You know what, one more thing, because I didn't want to forget to say this. Volkswagen, if you're watching this, please watch this. Hybrid option. That's the one other thing I would change. The Grand Highlander offers a hybrid option that gives you 36 miles per gallon-ish in the vehicle the size of this. If you can make a hybrid option, a 4-cylinder, a naturally aspirated 4-cylinder with a couple electric motors, put it in this thing, get you 36 miles per gallon with all-wheel drive, that's what I would definitely be interested in. So anyways, didn't want to forget to mention that, so I came back on. That pretty much rounds out this review, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to follow me on social media somewhere on the screen there if you wanted to see what's coming next on the channel before it gets to YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe and the bell notification button if you're into new car reviews. That is what I've been doing for 11 years now on YouTube here. Do appreciate you guys watching more than you know, and I will see you guys all in the next video. Stay gold.